Well, we are having a slight reshuffle. Our guests just come in, so we might as well shoot off. You don't delay your special guests. You give them, you lay red carpet so that they can walk on it. And at least that's how they've done in civilized world. Well, our guest is a former chief economist at Zenith Bank PLC. You've been here a couple of times. Now the CEO of Mascot Consult and Communications. We'll be talking about the issue Nuhu Ribadu. So that this week. Nuru Ribadu versus Muhammadu Buhari. What happened to Nigeria? And the status updates. Joining us is the our economic guru, Chief Marcel Okeke. Good morning.
Good morning, and thank you for having me around once again.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. We know you love Nigeria, and your experience, your vast experience in economic issues, sometimes make you uh, get emotional about
Honestly,
the trajectory of the country, and we appreciate that today. Today, I'm sure you have not only listened to what Nuhu Ribadu said. There's meeting with the senior military officials a couple of weeks ago, and Buhari's first interview after leaving office with the NTA. I'll be giving some extracts in the some kind of defense is raising. Um, I mean, eh, to explain some of the things you will be accusing him of this morning, so to speak. Now, it's alarming to hear a national security advisor who was also a major operative in the campaign organization of Buhari in 2019 say that that 8 year administration of Muhammadu Buhari bankrupted Nigeria. Does he know what he's talking about?
you
Hello,
want me to,
Master?
react to it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much for the question. Um, yes, to a large extent, the 8 year tenure of or administration of Muhammad Buhari, yes, can be said to have bankrupted Nigeria, because not until those 8 years, and Nigeria came to know that an administration could run only on borrowed funds, to the extent of borrowing money to pay salaries. What again is more indicative of a bankrupt entity than the fact that it's no longer able to pay salary of its employees? It got to that point that the government was borrowing money, not just to handle recurrent expenditure, but to come to overhead, paying salary. You are borrowing money. Somebody who was on the seat to act as Accountant General of the Federation made that statement and alluded to the fact that the government is borrowing money to pay salary, and he was removed instantly. It's like he let the cat out of the bag. As we speak now, if you reckon with the fact that by 2015, when Buhari came into office, the entire public debt of Nigeria was around 12 trillion naira. Okay? By the time he was leaving, say around May, June this year, he went to 77 trillion. 77 trillion. Okay? Now, if you do the small arithmetic and subtract, you'll be coming up with something like 65 or so trillion within the 8 years. If you do further arithmetic, you are coming up with a little over 8 trillion every year. 8 times 8 will give you 64 plus a little 1 trillion over that. Okay? So it means that every year you acquire additional debt of 8 trillion. Okay? And we were told that these monies were being used for infrastructure. My brothers, if you look around in Nigeria today, where is this magic called infrastructure? Where is it? Where are they located? If those monies were really deployed to infrastructure, all over the country, building of infrastructure across the country, Nigeria would now be an Eldorado that we have all looked forward to. But the truth is that so much of that money went into private pockets. Okay? So the challenge we have now is how to trace the people, who diverted these public funds. Okay? I heard the people mentioning, yes, one is the immediate past governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, and one power like that. And yes, that's the immediate past chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. And there are so many others. Okay? Some are going behind the scene to return their own, some fractions of that and so on and so forth. So it's a question of to what extent can the current administration go in discovering, how bad, things were under the Buhari administration. It was under him that we started hearing about cabal, the cabals who were controlling everything. And what's the meaning of cabal? It means that there are some group of people around him who occupy some position between the president and the rest of the people that are constitutionally supposed to work with him and for him. Okay, so these people were people that facilitated corruption. Okay, and that is why they colluded with, allegedly colluded with the former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, and then siphoned unimaginable quantity or trillions of the public fund, and they are not accountable because many of them did not occupy any office. So you cannot say the office of so person. We are told of somebody who answers Tunde in the presidency, one young man like that, who was a recharge card seller, and who is now known to be a multi-trillionaire, not billionaire, multi-trillionaire. Okay, and so on and so on and so on. So that is why when this administration, the Bola Tinubu administration, came on board, okay, there were a lot of booby traps all over the place. And that is why some of us have been crying that instead of him making the pronouncements he made on the inauguration day without sitting on that seat as president to discover how bad the rot in the system had been, that was a mistake. Because as an outsider, he was just making pronouncement. This one is gone. This one is removed. This one should be added. This one should be adjusted. This one should be reformed, and so on and so forth. You understand? He didn't know the extent of the rot, and that is why it's like the policies is put in place in the past 4 to 5 months. We are now dealing with the unintended effect or impact of those policies. Those policies could not achieve what they were intended to achieve because of what the past administration left behind for him. You understand? It's like some kind of hole is dug somewhere, and somebody used ordinary zinc to cover the hole, and immediately he stood on top of that zinc, everything went in. So we are in. The economy has sank in a bottomless pit as we speak because of how rotten, the past administration was. I must agree with you. So that's the situation. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Marcel. As usual, forthright. Okay, I want to quote some aspect of the president's speech, interview on NTA as captured by this day newspaper. I'm worried about this statement he made. I quote, questioned on the integrity of many of the people surrounding him during his 8-year government, the former president stated that it is their problem, querying what the persons who criticized him fiercely had done at their individual levels to fight corruption. He says it is their problem when they question the integrity of people around him. Somewhere else in the interview, he liked giving opportunity to people after giving them, after delegating. What they do is their business. It doesn't look like someone who has a hands-on philosophy that can help competently running the country. And he didn't seem remorseful about it. What's your take on that?
Okay. Am I saying on?
Yes, you are on.
Okay. You could now see how rudderless that administration was. You know, if somebody that was at the head of that administration or that regime or that tenure could say that after appointing people into various positions, that what they did with the power or the positions into which appointed them was their own business. Could you hear that? You know, that's suicide. You understand? That means that nobody was in charge. And truly, nobody was in charge. Because if you recall, for most part of his administration, is either he was outside, on health grounds, or he was just globetrotting, going all over the place as figurehead, attending that meeting, attending the other meeting, and so on and so forth. And at those meetings, he had nothing to say except what somebody wrote for him. You understand? So nobody was really in charge. And the people he gave those positions came to know about this, came to understand the man. And everybody was on his own, doing whatever they liked. In other words, the economy were run in silos. Everybody has a small empire, if you like, and did whatever they liked. And that is what the former president has confirmed. You understand? And that is why, there was lack of focus. No economy runs without a plan. No economy can run effectively without a plan. And there was no plan. Okay? There was no plan. Because when they had whatever they called the economic recovery and growth plan, that's what they called it. It's just on paper. Nobody followed anything. Okay? And that is why the Central Bank of Nigeria under Emefiele was like a country on its own and touched almost every aspect of the economy. We set up a scheme to talk about agriculture, set up a scheme to talk about pharmaceutical industry, set up a scheme to talk about schooling, set up a scheme to talk about hospitals, set up a scheme to talk about aviation, set up a scheme to talk about the maritime, the Central Bank of Nigeria.
Yeah.
Okay, was on its own. You understand? So if the CBN was doing all this, what were the ministries or MDA, ministry, department and agencies that were primarily set up to handle this? What were they doing? So there was serious lacuna. Nothing was coordinated. You understand? And so, because money was coming from the Central Bank of Nigeria, like they will say in one proverb, they were holding the yam and holding the knife and cutting us the piece and giving out. That's the government. That's the way he ran the government. Okay, and that is why whenever he's asked any question, whether when he was in office or now, you will see that he will just go off the tangent and start saying something far different from the kind of answer you will expect. You understand? So even now that he's out of office and he said what he said, nobody is surprised because nobody was in charge, and that's why the normal thing in 8 years, you hardly had that there was a serious cabinet reshuffle. Okay, even when it was very, very obvious that many of his appointees were failing, were not performing. It was very obvious, and nobody was removed. No change, no nothing. Okay, that's what brought us to where we are today. That's what brought us to where we are today. But we are even afraid because the current president said he was going to continue from where Buhari stopped. That statement, we believe it doesn't play out now. We believe it doesn't play out now because some of us have been asked whether the people that have been brought on board as ministers are really the best that Nigeria can, provide. Some of us have said no. They are not the best that Nigeria can provide for those positions. But now, having brought them on board, we are watching to see what happens. As we speak, we have not seen any fantastic impact. I'm telling you,
Okay,
we have not seen, especially in the area of the economy. In the area of the economy,
okay, Marcel.
which touches
Okay,
everything.
Marcel, before we get to the status quo or the status report, I want to have one more statement on the past. Before maybe Alex will interject with his question later. In the same piece, on the Naira policy, which was largely criticized, Buhari said, I'm quoting again, Buhari said, whether Nigerians believe it or not, we are an underdeveloped country. And in that sort of situation, there is materialism. And sometimes ruthlessly, they didn't care how they made the money. So I still feel that the only way I could deprive these people was just to make sure that my integrity became unquestionable. So I think the motivation, that means for introducing the policy, was to try and make Nigerians believe that there is no shortcut to successful leadership. What is he trying to say? That's kind of like a policy driven by vindictiveness to make some people pay for how they made their money.
you are the one saying it. Look at how small-minded, if you like, how small-minded, okay, how mean a president can be, by coming up with public policies based on targeting a few individuals to deal with them. That's the meaning of that, to deal with those few individuals. And then you talk about timing. Here we are, almost in the center of very, very major election. To elect his successor. And in a matter of weeks and all that, you start talking about redesigning of the currency, because you are targeting one or two persons, in the whole country, who you suspect have made their money in dubious ways. Is that how to make a policy? And that's why I tell you there's no plan. Okay, that Naira, the redesign and whatever, was it part of any major plan of the government? Is it anywhere in the map, in their calendar? Say 1 year, 2 year, 3 year calendar of what they are going to do. You understand? Or just whimsically, like a dream, somebody woke up one day and said, oh, we are going to redesign the Naira so that this 1 or 2 or 3 persons will not win this election. That's the way we are ruled, that's the way we are governed, and that's why everything had to crash. Because there was no planning. Like people said, look at the color of the currencies that came out. Look at the color of the currencies that came out. It's like something that is washed by the gutter, the roadside. If you look at it and compare with other banknotes, you find out that those things were done in a haste. There was no serious effort. There is no serious designing of anything. It's just to target 1 or 2 individuals and deal with them. That is not how to run a government. You understand? In fact, they were bereft of ideas. And so that's what was playing out. And that is why we are running from one problem into another one, from another one into another one, all this while. But I pray that the current government doesn't continue where Buhari stopped. I hope it doesn't continue with the Buhari style. That's my prayer.
Okay, the prayer session will continue after this short break.
Amen.
Marcel, we need to see your face. We are also on the YouTube.
Okay.
Live on YouTube.
Sorry.
If you are properly attired.
Sorry.
Okay, that's nice. So, Alex, in case you have anything to ask, I want to move on to the current position that we are in now.
Well, it's referring to, it's more or less a bridge between the past and the present.
Okay, I'm going back to live now.
All right.
We are back and we've been chatting with Marcel Okeke, former chief economist with Zenith Bank, and he shoots from the hips. He doesn't pull punches. We've been talking about a fiasco of an interview granted by the former president, and, which has provoked all kinds of, let me describe. I usually call it the man that we will not want to mention because how he dealt with us. But I could see his mindset from the interview, and we thank God that he's in retirement now. Marcel Okeke is still with us. Alex was going to cough a question out. Are you still coughing?
More or less an observation. We made the hint earlier before Chief Okeke came on. I'm wondering why the current administration has not deemed it fit to look at some other personalities who are involved in the activities that have caused a lot of trouble for the country. I mean, beyond the EFCC and the central bank, there are a lot of other agencies and ministries where we saw a lot of impropriety, we saw a lot of suspicious activity. So my question to the chief is, isn't there a way we can call people accountable for the misdeeds in the past when those misdeeds affect the economy of the country?
Thank you. Looking into the past, especially in government and in governance, is always a double-edged sword. It's a double-edged sword. Because how far can you go into the past? How far back? Are you stopping at Buhari era? Will you go into Goodluck Jonathan time? Yaradua, Obasanjo, and so on and so forth? Because the truth is this. There's a dirty proverb. I call it that dirty that I used to refer to. I say that you open somebody's nyash, I have not discovered any shit in it. Means you have not gone far. If you open far inside, there must be shit inside it. If you go far, there will be shit inside it.
Oh my God.
So what I'm saying is this. Let me tell you. If this government today, the Bola Tinubu government, want to probe every nook and cranny, if you like, of the immediate past administration, let me tell you, they will not finish doing that in their first 4 years, Because these people, the way they took the money, the system is so sophisticated that much of what is stolen, what is taken, are not in this system. How many years after Abacha left office, are we not still getting Abacha loot back in bits and pieces? How many years after? So if Tinubu says we want to continue to probe that administration, the Buhari administration, with a view to bringing back all that was stolen, that will be diversionary. And I tell you, that will occupy them to such an extent that they will not move forward. Remember, it's like the biblical statement that your hands are already on the plow and you don't need to look back. If you look back, you become a Lord's wife who turned into a pillar of salt.
You're not fit for the kingdom of God.
That's the point. Thank you.
Okay, Marcel. Now let's look at. You mentioned in passing about efforts of the Tinubu presidency in the last 5 months. Now I remember you are quite assertive, in fact, acerbic, with the way you described some of his policies about a couple of months ago. It seemed knee-jerking and all that. Now, based on what we have seen, what will be your not complaint, but let's say some kind of status report update on how far it has gone. Remember the other time we were almost close to tears about the suffering that Nigerians are going through, the catastrophe that is what that we call our economy. How far is it? What is it like now? Is it looking bright? Is it looking on the upside?
Thank you very much. Faj, one thing I can beat my chest now about is the fact that all I have told you and told everybody in this program and written, because I've written in various media outlets and all that, are coming to pass. Okay? Rather than this economy being turned around for good, that's improvement, we are getting far into the wood. I'm telling you, we are not coming out yet. Okay? I was privileged to have addressed senior officers of Fiscal Responsibility Commission, which is part of the presidency the other day, on the assumptions, the basis for 2024 budget. Again, I wrote an article and said that Nigeria's 2024 budget, another group in the dark. In other words, those budgets are being prepared based on false assumptions, things that are not realizable. You understand? So at the end of the day, rather than taking us out of the wood, it will take us far deeper. As we speak now, the major problem is the importation of PMS. All we had a few days ago is from the managing director of NNPC, who is promising again that by December this year, the Port Harcourt refinery will come back. That one of Kaduna and the one of Warri, within a couple of months and all that. So you can see it is still all promises. Almost 6 months, 7 months into the life of this government. You understand? And that's why I said, if the president has sat on that seat that first day and assessed the depth, the extent of the rot we have in the system, perhaps he wouldn't have made that kind of offhand statement. You understand? He would have used his position to say, okay, let me take 1 week, let me take 1 month to study and understand this situation before we make this pronouncement. Okay? So as we speak, what we are still dealing with are the unintended.
If I may weigh in here, I don't know if you viewed the presentation at the Nigeria-German Business Forum, where the president proclaimed that he should be given.
Sorry, Alex, is the audio having a
negative impact.
Okay, I thought he had finished.
What is palliative? What brought about palliative? Palliative, we are talking about palliatives because of the impact of the pronouncement saying that oil subsidy is removed. By the time the government and everybody started seeing the ripple effect of that pronouncement, everybody was almost gasping for breath. And so at federal, at state, at local government, everybody is talking about palliative. Okay? So government has not started even moving forward. They're still trying to deal with the aftermath of the pronouncement. Now, we talked about multiple exchange rate, and government had to float the naira to deal with. Have we dealt with it? No, as we speak now, the parallel market is there, thriving, and then the official market. And you can see where we have gotten to as regards the value of the naira. Has the value improved? It is getting worse. Whether the official rate or unofficial rate, everything is around 1,000 naira per dollar. You understand? Which means, as far as that policy is concerned, it's a total failure. You understand? And as far as oil subsidy removal is concerned, it's also a total failure. You understand? Because what the government did to handle the position was to license more people to continue importation of PMS. The more people they license, the more pressure they bring on the exchange rate of the naira. You understand? And the more the likelihood of the price of PMS at the pump, the more the likelihood of the increase in the price of PMS at the pump. Because the people who are importing have to produce volumes and volumes and volumes of naira to be able to buy the kind of dollar they will now use to import. And that's what the government has been doing. You understand? And that is why there is suspicion that behind the scene, there is even still subsidy. Because if government was not doing any kind of subsidy, nobody could afford importing PMS. You understand? At the going price, and then at the landing cost on our shores here. So you can see everywhere you talk to, you see that the problems are still there and have appeared in worse shape and worse form than before. Okay, so we're only hoping that in the long run they will learn by trial and error. That's what it has become. Let me tell you this one, for example. Do you know that there's a critical, very important statutory meeting called Monetary Policy Committee of the Central Bank of Nigeria? It was supposed to have met in September. It was supposed to have met this Monday and Tuesday of this week. Do you know for 2 consecutive times now, the Central Bank of Nigeria cancelled those statutory meetings? Because it's like they don't know what to say. They don't understand the direction the economy is going. Neither are they in a position to make any definitive statement as to the direction they want to go. So they were afraid, and they now had to cancel those meetings. You understand? And me and you, the rest of the economy that depend on the outcome of those meetings, which is called communique, the communique from the Monetary Policy Committee, we are left just floating like that, rudderless. Nobody said anything that will lead anybody to anywhere. That's the situation we are facing. Thank you.
Wow. On that frightening note, um, Alex, do you have a last comment last question for Marcel?
Yes, my question borders on the perception of the president about all these issues, because on Tuesday there was a German Nigerian business forum, and at that meeting we saw the president engage in a lot of chest thumping, so to say. He said he should get a Guinness Book of Records award for reforms, that he is a great reformer. We saw it in him when he was governor, and now we saw it in him as president. He was actually on the verge of, praising himself, saying he has removed subsidy, he has resolved the forex problem, and because of that, he understands corporate governance, and that businessmen should come on board and support his administration. I was a bit amazed by those pronouncements. And the impression I got was, is it that the president is not facing reality? Does he see things the way they really are? Chief, what do you think about this?
Alex, thank you very much. Thank you very much. You have said it all. That shows you we are rudderless. We are going far, far, far deeper in the wrong direction. If the president of the country could be saying what he's saying when the entire country is on fire, even his minister of finance and coordinating minister of the economy said the other day that foreign investors have refused to come to Nigeria in spite of the globe trotting and all this thing the man goes around saying. You understand? Let me tell you. The world is a global village. What they are going around all over the world telling prospective investors is a waste of money and resources. If things are working well in Nigeria, we have the embassies, we have the missions of these countries here with us. So they are monitoring on a daily basis. Even if they go there and there's photo trick of so billion, this, so billion, that signed, the mission here will tell them, don't mind them, they don't come here. And that is why Bola Tinubu and co are in the US attending the United Nations General Assembly meeting. The United Nations mission here, the US embassy here was writing travel advisory to its citizens not to travel to various parts of this country. How do you compare the two? He was inviting people to come and invest, and the people on ground here are writing advisory telling their people not to even come to Nigeria. You understand? So who has come and who will come? You understand? Okay, so I agree with you perfectly. It's like the president doesn't even understand what is going on, and that is why he goes on chest beating, praising himself and all that. But it's the opposite of what he's saying. That's what is playing out. Because whether local or foreign investors, nobody is investing. People that have money are moving to calmer and more profitable climes because one has to be alive to even do this investment. Nigeria is a dangerous place as far as foreign investors are concerned, and even local investors. So I agree with you perfectly. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Marcel. Okeke. When you want an ungarnished truth from about the economy, you call Marcel. Okay. We thank you for coming. And we hope to call you so much shortly as we review Nigerian economy in the new year. Thank you so much and have a great weekend.
Thank you very much, Fajan.
Thank you, Chief. Thanks for being there.
Thank you very much.
That was Marcel for you. No holds barred. We'll be back shortly. We'll take a break and see what we can retrieve. I can see Boston's face is not smiling too much now. And we'll take a piece. I'll take up the pieces from where Marcel Okeke left it when we come back.